Hey, we're going to get started in just a second here. Thank you for joining us. All right. Welcome, everybody. Hang on one second here. All right. Just want to get the information in the post here for everybody. There we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome so much for you coming to the Passionista Nation Expert Interview Series. Hope you had an amazing weekend and you're in for a real treat. We have an amazing expert today. So I'm so excited to bring to you Debbie Cromack. She is a corporate lackey turned entrepreneurial renegade. I love that. And she's an international best-selling author, business coach, and she empowers introverted entrepreneurs to set up the foundation of their coaching business, implement a replicable sales process that feels good, and replaces their corporate income, creating a life that they fall in love with every day. So if you're done being an employee and making other people all the money, right, making them rich, and you're ready to make yourself wealthy in impact, in income, and in soul happiness, then Debbie's your gal. So today, Debbie and I are going to be talking about visibility and the power of collaboration. So welcome, Debbie. So glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. I am honored to be here with you today, and I'm excited. Since the moment we connected, I have loved your energy, and I'm just so excited to be chatting with you and your tribe about this today.
Thank you for saying that, and I felt the same way. And being the host and the founder of Passionista Nation has really allowed me to meet so many wonderful women like yourself all over the world. And so we've been able to connect further and do this collaboration today, right? So it's all about getting out there, connecting with the people that you really have synergy with, right? And joining forces so you can make a bigger impact. So I love that. I love that we got to meet, and I love that you're here today. So excited about our topic. So we have lots to talk about, and I'm so excited to hear what you have to share on this awesome topic. This is a topic that I think so many of our ladies ask about in various different ways. So really, really excited to jump in because we have a short amount of time, lots of info to cover. So I know one of the biggest challenges for many entrepreneurs is really getting in front of their potential clients, right? And we've all heard about the concept of visibility. But what does this really mean, Debbie? Can you give us some insight around that?
So visibility really means, putting yourself out there and putting yourself out there in an authentic way, right? Just showing up and being you with all your beautiful quirks and weird habits and everything. Because I think we get, we come into the online space and we see people who we consider mentors, people who maybe are influencers in kind of our niche, in our area, right? And things like that. And we go, oh, like that's so impressive. Like I want to do that. I want to be here. I want to have that. I want to do all that. And so we try to simply emulate them. And it doesn't come off very well. Not even necessarily like, oh, you're being fake, you're being an imposter. But I feel like we look up to these people so much, and then we're trying to, oh, okay, they're successful. Let me do what they did and I'll be successful too. Like in a very innocent way. But what ends up happening is we're not them, right? We don't have their stories. We don't have their experience. We don't have their background. So doing things their way isn't really going to get us what we're after, right? We want to do it in a way where we can show up and just be ourselves. And by the very nature of us being ourselves, we're going to do two things, right? We're going to attract to us those who are meant to be on our journey, in our world, possibly our clients, and repel those who are not meant to be in our journey, in our circles in any way, right? Like you think about even something as simple as, I know some people who cursing is almost a part of their brand, right? That's just who they are. Well, that's going to turn off some people, and other people are going to be like, yeah, girl, bring it on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if cursing is your thing, then come into the online space and do your thing, right? Because you're going to attract those who are also like that. If God is your thing, don't be shy to talk about God and bring God into your business, right? Because those who also have faith and believe, they'll be like, oh yeah, she's for me. And those who are like, not for me, they will repel. So, the best way that you can be visible and attract to you those who you want to be in your world is to just be you. Like, plain and simple, honestly. And I know it's scary because we feel like, well, I don't want to make someone mad. I don't want to repel anybody, right?
Yep.
But the thing is, there's no possible way for us to truly help everyone who's our friend, our follower in our Facebook group, right? Like, there's just not enough manpower hours for us to be able to do that. So we kind of do want to repel certain people. And that's where like the whole niching down kind of comes into play as well. Like, where we're talking to that specific person, we're getting visible in the online space, and we're putting that message out there.
Yeah. So you said so much there, Debbie, and I absolutely can relate to the whole seeing what everybody else is doing and wanting to do that, because it seems like it makes sense, right? And when you're not so clear on a direction to go, that's like the easier path to take. But I fell in the trap of, if this person's doing so well doing this, if they could do it, I could do it. So I'm just going to do what they're doing. And that can get you some level of success, but it's not sustainable. It's not in alignment with who you are, right? And so you're going to feel resistance. You're going to feel struggle, right? But you can use those people as inspiration or motivation, or, get ideas. But then making it your own, right, is so important, and adding your own spin and your own style to it. So I saw a sign in my daughter's classroom one time that really hit home with me, and it said, an original is worth way more than a copy. And if you're thinking of art, right, it's so true, and that's what Debbie's saying here is, be yourself. And that is, only you can be you, right? And really stand in your truth when it comes to getting out there and being visible. And I know sometimes it's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to be transparent because you're afraid you're going to make a fool out of yourself. But nobody wants perfect, right?
No. Because, look, perfect is intimidating. And here's the thing, too. I think, look, there's nothing wrong that we did that in the beginning of our businesses because we didn't know anything, right? And all we did was go, okay, they really seem to have their stuff together. Let me see what I can take from it, and like maybe I can do that too. So it's not like there's anything wrong with it, but you brought up the biggest point, right? That it has to be in alignment with you. Like if it's all in alignment with you and somehow everything just lines up and you're like, oh my gosh, this feels amazing, then have at it. But there are probably going to be pieces that don't quite feel so right because it's not you and your journey and your path, right? So I think, the way you said it, like, let them be inspiration, right? So I know even for myself, I'm a little bit of all the people who have impacted me mixed all together with me, right? So I like what that person said. Let me give that a try. I like this. So, right, like it's kind of this amalgamation, if you will, of all of it put together. And then me going, now how do I make it mine so that it resonates with me, so that my energy comes through as I'm putting my content out there, right? As I'm getting out there and getting visible, like it has to come from me, because we don't want to put stuff out into the online space, right? We're brave enough to say, okay, I'm going to go get visible now. I know who I want to talk to. I know where they're hanging out. Here I go. I'm going to go out and do it. And then we go out and we do it. And then they get on the phone with us and they're like, oh, well, this doesn't sound like you at all, right? Like we want to make sure that it's all very congruent as we're getting visible, because if it's not, and all we did was take one person's recipe for success, right? I'm going to give you the 5 exact steps that I did. Like, that's great and that worked for them, but that doesn't necessitate that it's also going to work for you in the very same way, right? And that's where I think we just have to, like you said, just be very cautious of, okay, is that truly resonating with me? And if I go out and put that out into the space, is that energy going to connect me with the right people, or is it going to connect me with the people who should be going to that person? Because that's their story, that's their recipe, right? And that's one of the things I always talk with my clients about is, again, nothing wrong with any of that stuff, right? Pluck little things that feel good for you and feel right for you, but then let's make it yours. Like, this is your framework, this is your recipe, and there's no other recipe like it. Only you can do it the way that you do it.
Yes.
That's the magic, right?
So true. And we have to really bring all of ourselves into it, right? Not just the things that we've learned, but our experiences, our education. I mean, we all have been on, these journeys in our lives, and we've had these life lessons and all of these things we've learned along the way. And so, if you consider all of those elements and bring all of that into who you're being, that's when then it's real, right? And you're able to just be you, have fun with it. And I think that's where people are going to learn the most and really feel like they can connect with you and understand you and get to know, like, and trust you when you're bringing all of you to the picture.
Yeah. And I actually have a couple posts coming out this week where I kind of talk about, like, share your story, share your face plants, flops, and failures, because just, you said a moment ago, like, nobody really wants perfect. That's, to me, intimidating. Like, if you've never made a mistake before, I mean, good for you. But, like, I have learned so much from my face plants, flops, and failures that makes me a better coach, and that kind of helps me to guide my clients through, oh, wait, let's not do that. Hold on. Something could go wrong because I tried that before and it was dreadful. You know what I mean? Where, like, they're paying us to help guide them and support them and, encourage them and teach them and all those things wrapped up. So I kind of share a lot of that stuff where, like, my first year in business, I made $29. Not my first month in business, my first year in business. Like, you know what I mean? But I learned a lot, and I've come so far from that point. But I think it's important too to share the reality of not only business isn't like an overnight success, but also, like, look, I did a bunch of stuff that really didn't go well. And I've learned from that stuff, and I've tweaked and I've adjusted, and now I know how to do it. So now I can better guide you, right? Like, that's where it all kind of comes together.
Yeah. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, Debbie gets me. She's totally been where I've been at,
And I think too, like, sharing that stuff almost helps them give themselves permission to be like, oh, thank goodness, I'm not the only wackadoo here that, like, totally did this, incredibly backwards and wrong. You know what I mean? Like, yep, we've all kind of been there. And I think, it's a little bit scary to share. It's a little bit embarrassing to share because, you're putting your yuck out there, right? And who really wants to share that? But I say, share it. Like, if every single story you're sharing is how terrible you are, like, that's probably not good. But I think, it makes it very real. It brings a very real element to it when we share that, like, these are the highs and these are the lows too, right? It's not all high. I think we have a tendency in the online space to just be like, here's all the good stuff. All of my clients have 10K months. They're all reaching 100K in their first year. Like, we all want to share that stuff, but we don't necessarily want to share, well, here's all the hard stuff they went through to get there. Yeah. But that's really where the meat of it is. Like, that's the substance of it. You know what I mean? Let's share that and humanize it for everyone who's going, oh my gosh, I did my first, like, my first launch of my, I had a course that I spent a year creating. Not a single person bought it. Right? So, but that's a reality. Did I learn from the experience? Absolutely I did. Can I guide somebody else better through it now? Of course I can, right? Yeah. But I kind of had to go through that in order to go, okay, what worked, what didn't work? And that, again, that's kind of where it all starts to come together. That's why I think it's so important to let's kind of share that there's a bit of an icky side to all of this, because that's how we make it real.
Definitely. Share the good, bad, and the ugly, right?
Yeah.
No, I was at Body Pump this morning, and as you go into like the equipment room, there's often like a little positive quote on the door. And today's was, you don't have to be perfect to be amazing.
Oh,
Isn't that good? And it's so relevant to today's topic, right? So yeah, I just love that. I'm gonna have to post that in our group.
yeah, I like
All right.
that.
So what are some different ways to be visible?
Yeah, so I mean, first I'll kind of give a little summary before I go into that. Like,
Okay.
and I said it a moment ago, like you really want to know why you want to get visible and who you want to get visible for. Like, what is your visibility strategy? Is it, what's the purpose behind it? Because that's going to help you show up in the right way and in the right energy, right? For me, this year has been all about my Facebook group and bringing incredible women into my Facebook group who are all going through that challenge of transitioning out of corporate and into their online coaching business, right? Like, I want to create this space where they feel comfortable coming and experimenting and sharing and learning and growing and asking questions and teaching one another, right? Just this beautiful community sisterhood. So for me, that's been the biggest piece of my visibility strategy. That's my why. That's what I'm doing it for. Somebody, you may say, oh, well, it's because I'm going to launch a group coaching program, right? So you want to know why it is you want to get visible. And then obviously the who, right? Identify who is it that you're trying to, be visible to. Is it people for your group coaching program? Is it people to come into your group? Is it people you'd like to collaborate with, right? Any kinds of people. So you kind of want to identify also who it is you're trying to reach as you're deciding to be brave and go out there and be visible, because that's going to be a very important thing for you to like target your content and what, really what you're putting out there. Because look, visibility, we talked about it, right? It's scary. People are going to judge you. You're going to self-sabotage. Like, what if they think I have no idea what I'm talking about, right? All of those things can come up and they can be really scary. But as long as you keep in mind, right, what your strategy is and why you're kind of going out there and doing it, that's what's the most important piece. So as we kind of started this with is bring all your weirdness into it, bring all your quirks into it, like just show up and be you and know what it is that you're after. What's your strategy of why you're choosing to get visible in this way right now and who it is that you're trying to kind of go out and reach. Then you do want to think about, well, where and when, right? Like, start to get to know, and let's be cautious, because I think you and I talked about this before. We have this tendency when we first get started, before we hire a coach and get guidance, right, where we're like, okay, I need to be on Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Snappy Chatty, and all the places because that's getting visible. No, that's going to just be overwhelming and exhaust you, and then you're not going to show up anywhere, right? We know this. Yeah. But I did. I raised his hand because I totally did that in the beginning because I didn't know. And then suddenly I had audiences built on all these platforms, and I'm like, oh, well, I better keep showing up because now I have people waiting for my time. So, big dreadful mistake on my end. And, now I have a VA and I have somebody helping me do some things, but I've also focused and honed in, and I've learned, and I think it's okay to get on a platform to experiment. Are my people hanging out here? Here's the thing. Once you have narrowed your niche, right, and you know who your ideal client or dream client is, you pretty much know where they're hanging out for the most part, right? Because you're pretty connected with, this is this type of person. Most likely they're going to be on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, right? Those are probably the two biggies. So kind of peek around in those spaces. Hop into Facebook groups. Figure out where your people are, because that's where you want to be showing up. Also, there's an element of you in there. Do you enjoy being on those platforms? I learned pretty quickly that I didn't really love being on Twitter. So, and it did not seem like my dream clients were out on Twitter. It seemed like they were more on Facebook. Lo and behold, thank goodness, because I love hanging out on Facebook, right? Like, that's kind of where I feel most comfortable. So start just kind of experimenting and seeing, where are my people kind of hanging out, and when can I get visible? So for me, again, I have my gals who are in the 9 to 5 space, so they have limited time. So we talk about consistency, because consistency is huge when you're getting visible. Okay. And if you can't be consistent, you're not going to show up and do it. And then they're going to lose their trust factor, because they're going to be like, what? She disappeared. Where did she go? What happened? Right. So I always tell them, you pick whatever's going to work for you. If it's Tuesday and Thursday, because that's all you can do, then make sure on Tuesday and Thursday, you're showing up and doing your posts or your newsletter or your blog or whatever it is that you're choosing to do in your business that feels good for you. Make sure that you're going to show up and do it, because that consistency that's where they're like, because I have even had people like, if I've kind of had a misstep, I had one client of mine, she's like, have you been doing any live streams lately? Have I been missing them? And what happened is I had skipped a week because I'd gone away on a conference. Mm-hmm. I had made an announcement. I'm not going to be around. We're not going to do Mindset Cafe on Wednesday or business coaching on Thursday. She missed the announcement. Wow. So she was like, right. But people start to get to know this is your routine. And it's almost like when you get that following of people, they're looking forward to it, right? Oh, you do a live stream every Tuesday? Fabulous, I'll show up, right? And then suddenly you're not there. And not that necessarily one skip breaks trust, but if all of a sudden you're just sporadic and you're all over the place, you're not going to gain that following. So that too is very important, just to pick something that's going to work, that you're going to show up for, and show up for it. Like, that's very, very important.
I love that. And so you were talking about, finding ways of being visible that feel good to you, that are fun for you. And you said you love Facebook. Something that was coming up for me as you were saying that is, and something that I realized that, our ideal target clients, I call them our star clients, are often just like us. So if we like hanging out on Facebook, guess what? So do our ideal star clients. And also too, if you're being yourself, they're going to resonate with you, like you said, and they're going to be able to connect with you when you're being genuine and authentic and real, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's really important, knowing that the right people are going to be attracted to you because you're you, and where you show up. But the thing is, our ideal clients are basically us a few years back before we figured things out, right? So even if we're just a few steps ahead, we can teach them, they can learn from us. So, I think, the word expert has kind of been thrown around a lot, and people are like, oh my gosh, I'm really not an expert. But if you have something of value to share that you can help somebody get from where they are to where they want to be in a quicker manner, and you can help them, then yes, you are an expert, right? And I think that kind of gives you permission, or gives you more confidence to step out and be more visible if you can see that what you're offering provides value and really makes a difference in people's lives. So what can you say on that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's a huge confidence piece that I've seen in, a number of my clients, where it's like we have this sense of, if I'm not further along, I'm not an expert, right? And I always tell my clients, you don't need to be 10 steps ahead of where they are, right? You only need to be, as you said, like just a couple of steps ahead. Yeah. You can help that person who's a couple steps behind you, because guess what? The person who's 10 steps ahead of you, they're not your dream client. Like, they're not coming to you. So don't worry about them. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to know everything they know. You don't have to be able to launch every 30 days because that's what they do, right? You don't have to be there. They're further ahead of you. And sometimes when they're so far ahead of you, they kind of forget a little bit what it was like to be where you are. So they may not even be the best person, I love
that. Yeah, that's huge.
We're all kind of growing together, right? So as long as you stay 2 steps ahead of your ideal client, your dream client, you can help them. I had a gal, we had a call together, and she had I don't know, 2 children, I think. She was pregnant with her third, and she wanted to help mamas. And she said, well, but I don't know, can I really help them to get to where I am? And I said, okay, do you think you could help a first-time mom who's having her first child? You now have 2, you're going on your third. And she said, oh, well, yes. And I was like, okay, then, you know what I mean? Like, she's only having her first child. You've already gotten 2. You're going on to your third. Absolutely, you can help her through this experience of having her first child. That's all you need to be, right? Therein lies your expertise. Can you help someone who's had 14 children and managing the work-life balance? I don't know. Is that your ideal person? You know what I mean? Like, maybe not if they have 14 children. Like, you only need to be a little bit ahead in order to truly be able to add value and help them get to where you are, right? Because as you're doing that, again, I'll kind of go back to the scenario where, like, they're growing and you're growing. So you still remain that 2 steps ahead. And that's what I think is very important, because I think this self-sabotage confidence game, like, hits us and we're like, oh, I don't know everything there is to know. But that's okay. Like, I'm a business coach, and, you know, I can teach people about branding. Certainly, I have a fabulous brand. I know about branding. Am I a branding expert? Well, no, it's not all that I do, but I know a branding expert. Hence, right, the collaboration and stuff that you and I are doing, I would happily bring a branding expert into my group to share what they know about branding, because they're all about branding. Does that mean that my clients can never learn a thing about branding from me? No, I'm just not like an expert at doing it. And that's okay. Like, you don't have to know every single thing there is to know in order to help someone who's 2 steps behind you. Right?
So true. Absolutely. So, all right, when it comes to being visible and getting out there and getting in front of your ideal clients, sometimes it's like, oh, how can I do this all myself? But the truth of the matter, you and I both know that you don't have to do it all alone. So how can you use collaborations to really help you become more visible? How can we take our connections that we have and then turn them into these collaborations? What do you have to say about that?
Collaboration is what I like to consider exploding your visibility. Because here's the thing, and we'll kind of step through it a little bit. Because it is hard, right? Especially like before you have a VA, when you're first getting started, you're like, oh my goodness, I feel like I have to be everywhere all the time. You want to be consistent. You don't have to be online constantly. You just want to be consistent. So let's kind of take that a step further and go, okay, well, what can I do to get me seen a little bit more, right? This is where collaboration is so beautifully powerful, right? You want to expand your reach. You want to be able to tap into somebody else's audience who might be a complementary audience for you. They may have some ideal clients for you. Your audience may be filled with some ideal clients for them. You just don't know. And you and I have talked about this, like, competition, no. This is all about sharing our stuff. There's no, oh, aren't you worried they're going to steal your client? No, because if you're in my Facebook group for 2 years and you're getting loads of value from me, but you've never hired me, I'm probably just not the right person for you. Maybe one of my guest experts that comes in, you resonate with, and you're like, oh my gosh, I found my coach. Fabulous. Go get the help you need, right? Like, yes, this is what it's all about, is whatever you need in order to get to where you want to go, that's your person. Go, you guys are off and running, let's do it. But the collaboration is how we get there, right? So I always recommend this to my clients. And I'm the kind of coach, if somebody connects with me and I'm like, ooh, this would be good for this client. And I'm like, hey, go connect with this person, go connect with that person. Because you can either collaborate with them, you never know, they might turn out to be a client, they might turn out to be a coach, they might turn out to be a mentor, they could just turn out to be a friend, you have no idea, right? But it all starts with building relationships, connecting with people and building those relationships. And it just starts with reaching out, right? You and I found each other. Something about each of us was like, hey, I kind of dig what you're doing. Do you want to chat, right? We get to know each other. And look, you're going to know pretty quickly whether your energy is a good match for that other person or not. And if it's not, hey, thanks for the chat and you're off and on your way, right?
Yep.
But when you have something that clicks and connects like you and I did, it's like, hey, what can we do together? Like, let's do something together because I really like what you're all about, right? And I love what you stand for. I love the work that you're doing, and I'd love to do something with you. So, oh, you have a Facebook group? Hey, I have a Facebook group. Let's swap and be guest experts, right? And I'll sprinkle your audience with knowledge. You'll sprinkle mine with knowledge. Somewhere in there, we may find a client. We have no idea, right? But that's the beauty of it. So you're not doing all the work yourself. Same thing with like getting on a podcast. There's a bunch of gals on Instagram that I'm like, oh, how cool, she has a podcast. And I really like what she's about. And I'll just kind of tickle her with a message and be like, hey, do you want to chat sometime? Like, I do a lot of collaboration and I love what you're doing and maybe we can do something together. Next thing you know, I'm on their podcast, exposed to all of their audience, and we know how massive podcasts are getting, right? Like, and it's that ripple effect. And all of a sudden, we're in front of boatloads of different people, all by truthfully connecting, right? And of course, and I'll go back to be authentic about it, right? You don't want to just go, oh, all these people have podcasts. If you don't resonate with them, it's not going to go well. You know what I mean? Like, make sure that you're truly interested in them and what they stand for and what they're about and all of that, and reach out. And here's the thing. And my clients, again, this kind of comes back to confidence. This kind of comes back to self-sabotage. And my clients will be like, I can't connect. She's got like 30,000 followers. I can't reach out to her. I have like 200 followers. It doesn't matter because you know what? The day she started, she had to start with her first follower. At one point, she had 200 followers. You know what I mean? Like, she's just a human being. If she likes what you're about and she wants to connect with you, she's going to connect with you because a couple of things can happen, right? They could ignore you. Okay. They could connect with you and say, that's just not where my business is headed, but thanks so much. Or they could connect with you and say, oh my gosh, I totally love, like, yeah, let's do something.
Yep.
Those are the three things that could happen.
Right.
Right? What would stop you when you don't know what the response could be? Like, let's set those fears aside, right? And just let our passion for the work that we're trying to do kind of shine through and say, okay, fears, I got you, right? And I don't know if you and I have had the fear conversation, but like, I look at fear in a different way than many people where I'm like, I don't think our fears ever truly leave us. I think we manage through them better and better. And I kind of say, hold on to fear's hand and say, all right, come on, we're going. Come on, let's go. Right? We just kind of go and say, all right, I know you're coming with me, fear, but I'm going to do this anyway because I have a message to share. I have people to help. So yeah, she has 250,000 followers. I'm still going to send her a message and say, hey, this is what I'm all about. I'd love to connect with you and see if we could do something together.
Yeah. So Debbie, something along those lines is coming up for me. We always think about, get in our head about, oh, I don't want to bother them, or they have this big audience and they're not going to be interested in me. But when they do have a big audience, or even just having a platform that they have to continue to provide value, and if you know you can offer value and it's going to be a win-win for everyone, I mean, they're going to be more than happy if it's a fit to bring you on, because guess what? You're providing value that they don't have to come up with, right?
Exactly.
And so it's going to help them. Like having the Passionista Nation expert interview series every other week, I have to find experts, and it's work on me and my team's part to find them. And if somebody has the guts to reach out and say, hey, I have something amazing I want to share with your group, and then we chat and it's a good fit and I see it valuable, then yeah. And to me, it's like, oh my gosh, it just saved me a ton of time, right? So it's all good, right? And I love, I think why you and I resonated so much, it's all about giving value in providing service, coming from that place of service, and that the whole competition piece is removed because we don't care. We just really want to help people. And if we're true to that and really wanting to provide value and be of service versus just making a sale, and we're coming from that place of more of an abundance mindset and knowing that there's plenty of people out there that are going to resonate with me. Some of them won't. That's okay. Maybe they resonate with someone else more. That's okay. You have to be completely detached from that. So if you're operating from the, fear or scarcity or lack, then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm competing with that person. There's only so many clients and I don't want to give them away. It's exhausting. It's very limiting and very unhealthy, right? But the truth of the matter is there's plenty of people for you to work with, and it's all about just providing value and service. And I love the fact that Debbie and I actually do similar work, because it just goes to show there's so much need for what we have to offer, right? It confirms that. So
that's the thing. There are so many people who need our help. There's so many people. And that's why I said earlier, like, there's no way that we could possibly truly serve and work with on like a one-on-one basis, or everyone who, even if we just stuck to our Facebook group, right? Forget about Instagram and our email list. Even if we just stuck to our Facebook group, we can't physically truly help everyone who's in there. Mm-hmm. There's not enough time in the day, right? So let's spread it around. And I always say, let's, and it's funny because I teach my clients how to be business coaches. I'm a business coach. So essentially I'm teaching them how to be my competitor. And I'm like, yes, girl, let's both get clients. You know what I mean? Let's do it together. So and it's funny because you're teaching them how to do what? Yes, I'm teaching them how to be me, be my competitor. Let's do it together. Let's kind of go. Everybody lift up. Let's go.
That's awesome. I love it. All right. Well, we're unfortunately running out of time here, and I know that you have an amazing free gift for the listener. So first of all, I want you to share how everybody can connect with you. Those of you who loved what Debbie had to share today and you want to learn more about her and what she's got going on, yes, please share how they can get in touch with you. But then also I know Debbie has something that she wants to share with all of you as well, where you can get even more value. So why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so my favorite place to hang out is my Facebook group. They are my sisterhood. They are my family. It is a fabulous group of women. It's very interactive, very supportive. It's just a totally fun place to hang out. I do Mindset Cafe on Wednesdays. I do free business coaching on Thursdays. I have fabulous guest experts coming in all the time, like at least a couple times a month. And Megan's going to be coming in there. And so that is Emerging Empowered Entrepreneurs. Leave your 9 to 5 and thrive as a coach. It's a little bit long, but you can find me. And then, Instagram, I kind of hang out there a little bit as well. On there, I'm Emerge Empower. And so I do my the little Instagram stories with my behind the scenes. My goats make a lot of appearances because everybody loves my goats.
Oh, yeah. I'll watch it for that.
My baby goats, I have a whole highlight reel that is just my goats because they're just so entertaining. But yeah, so I have a free 30-minute call that I do. It is nail your message, because in the online space, our message is really the first way that people start to get to know us. So it's very important that we have it loaded with things like, who are you? Who is your client? What is their pain point? How do you help them solve that pain point? Sprinkle in a little bit of your personality and really just have it totally resonate you and what you're putting out there and providing so much value. And I think it can be hard especially when we're first coming into the online space, or I've had some people do it where they've just changed their niche a little bit and they're like, okay, now I'm stuck again. I don't know what to do. Because that message, that content that you put out in the space, that's the first thing that people see from us, right? Usually before even a live stream or anything like that, because we're posting out there and they're just seeing a post. So we want to make sure that your message is very, very clear, very direct, and has a big element of emotion, because we all know the best way we connect is from our emotions. So it's a free 30-minute call. I know that, Megan, you have the Calendly link. Anybody can just message me, whatever you want to do it. It doesn't really matter how you get in touch with me, but it's a free call and we get your message nailed by the end of the call. So, and it does come with a follow-up so that there's like a week in between of sort of implementation where you're testing it and you're saying, this worked, this didn't feel right. And then we kind of get together afterwards and we tweak a little bit. So it's a very powerful call, and I would love to support you if you're feeling like you're a little wiggly on your message and you need to kind of really nail it.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you for your generous offer. That's amazing. Those of you who don't have your niche down, absolutely highly recommend you taking advantage of that incredible offer. Thank you, Debbie.
You're
and thank
welcome.
you so much for your incredible knowledge today and sharing your expertise with us on visibility and the power of collaboration. I know we can go on and on. There's so much to share on that. And but you offered some amazing insight and some very great advice around how to start taking action to get out there and be more visible. And I think too, just, really giving everyone permission to do it, and that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you, and know that you're going to connect with the right people when you are being true to yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. And so please, if you're interested, I've made it super easy. I've included the Debbie's Calendly link. So all you have to do is click on that, and you can get on her calendar for her nailing your message offer. And so join us. We're going to be here not next Monday, but the following Monday. Every 2 weeks, we have a featured expert for you talking about something that you guys are asking to learn about. So I listen. So, when we have our polls, or actually when you're signing up as being a member of Passionista Nation, those questions are there for a reason in terms of what you want to learn. And that's kind of how I decide who to bring on as our expert. And I want to encourage all of you to collaborate, get out there and collaborate and meet other cool people so you can do what Debbie and I have done today. It's so much more fun because, it could be so isolating and lonely and boring as an entrepreneur, right?
Yep.
But we get to work with other cool people like Debbie. It just makes it more exciting and fun. So I highly recommend it, encourage you all to do that in your own business and see what makes sense. It's a great way to fuel your soul and meet a lot of cool people, but really join forces to make even a bigger impact in this world. And I know all of you have amazing gifts and talents to share. So go out there, be courageous, take inspired action, and share those gifts with the world. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining today. Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks, Megan. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.